Subject Area Design, Assessment Task 1, Senior Years Learning and Teaching by LynneStaff. The purpose of this presentation is to demonstrate my ability to plan learning experiences, enact those planning documents, respond to feedback, and justify my pedagogical choices. 4 exemplar lesson plans that address 1. Literacy and numeracy, 2. Higher order thinking strategies, 3. Pedagogical content knowledge, and 4. Information and communication technologies to enhance learning, demonstrate my ability to plan effective learning experiences. These lesson plans are designed for Year 11 students undertaking the Design General Subject as prescribed by the Design Senior Syllabus 2019 from the Queensland Curriculum and Assessment Authority. Lesson 1 concentrates on literacy, one of the 3 skill sets, along with numeracy and 21st century skills that underpin the senior syllabuses. To quote from the syllabus, literacy is the set of knowledge and skills about language and texts essential for understanding and conveying design content. In this lesson, the literacy focus is on A. Developing students' design vocabulary to communicate effectively with each other as they work collaboratively on design projects, and B. To convey design ideas and concepts to a variety of external stakeholders. The lesson is based on Unit 1, Design in Practice, Topic 1, Experiencing Design of the General Design Syllabus. It is an introductory lesson focused on the design process and the breadth of design professions. The lesson's success criteria are for students to define what design is in 1 to 2 sentences, list several types of design professions, identify and describe the 4 elements of the double diamond design process, and explain what convergent and divergent thinking processes are. Learning activities consist of comparing the definition of design from a variety of sources, including a short video, students' own prior knowledge, and the design syllabus. Students begin to create their own design glossary with several terms used in the design process. For example, iterative, constraint, consideration, and aesthetic, functional, technical, social, and cultural features. This glossary will act as a valuable resource throughout the course. Learners are introduced to the double diamond design process via a PowerPoint presentation. Evidence of learning is assessed through students' participation in a class mind map activity, class discussion, small group work, and an exit ticket. Lesson 2 centers on higher order thinking strategies, with students using the Scamper creative thinking tool to practice divergent thinking. The lesson connects to the syllabus Unit 1 objectives to devise ideas using divergent thinking strategies in response to design problems in the develop phase, and to represent ideas using informal ideation sketching. The 21st century skill of creative thinking is highlighted when students learn to innovate and identify new ways of doing things through the reimagining of products, services, and environments. Students use the Scamper strategy to devise alternate uses for a common object, for example, a hat or a paperclip, that they were randomly allocated at the beginning of the lesson. Students develop an alternate use for their object by using each of the Scamper acronyms. S for substitute, C for combine, A for adapt, M for modify or magnify, P for put to other uses, E for eliminate, and R for rearrange or reverse. After using Scamper to develop several different concepts, students choose 3 of their ideas and then rapidly sketch those ideas to visualize their mental images. At the end of the lesson, learners complete an exit ticket activity that asks them to reflect on how the use of a thinking tool such as Scamper can help designers to think in different ways. Lesson 3 is an exemplar for pedagogical content knowledge. In design, problem-based learning is the overarching pedagogical framework. Problem-based learning incorporates open-ended design problems, collaboration and teamwork, with the teacher as facilitator or guide. The lesson objectives, which link to the Unit 1 syllabus objectives, are for learners to investigate needs, wants, and opportunities of an identified user in response to a design brief provided by the teacher, and demonstrate using informal conceptual ideation sketching to represent mental images and support the rapid devising and testing of ideas. During the lesson, the teacher acts as facilitator by introducing the lesson with a thought-provoking statement and video on the connection between learning and the classroom environment. The teacher provides scaffolding to students in the form of a design brief to redesign the classroom they are sitting in, and a design thinking worksheet based on IDEO's design thinking activity, Redesign the School Lunch Experience. Students then work collaboratively with a partner to investigate and explore needs, wants, or opportunities related to the design brief. Design a problem statement, ideate, develop a big idea, and then seek feedback. The scaffolding steps students through the design thinking process using both divergent and convergent thinking processes in a simulated real-world environment. Evidence of learning is provided by the students' resulting design solutions. Lesson 4 focuses on ICTs to enhance learning. Students use ICT to demonstrate the use of digital low-fidelity prototyping to represent design ideas in the develop phase. Using a 3D digital app, students create a prototype of their design to investigate how digital prototyping allows a designer to visualize designs and test them against real-world variables. The lesson aligns with the Unit 1 Topic 2 objective to represent ideas and design concepts using schematic sketching, ideation sketching, and low-fidelity prototyping in the develop phase. The following teacher demonstration illustrates my ability to enact planned learning experiences. The demonstration is based on Lesson 1, Introduction to Design, Literacy Focus. Good morning, Year 11, and welcome to our introductory design lesson. The success criteria for this lesson is, by the end of this lesson, I will be able to write a definition of design, describe the features that define design problems and design criteria, and recall the meaning of selected design vocabulary. So what we're really looking at is to investigate for ourselves what design is, then look at those constraints and criteria that define design problems. And thirdly, we're going to be looking at design vocabulary. So there is a literacy focus to the lesson, and it's quite important that we learn that common language of design so that we can communicate and collaborate with each other when we're looking for solutions to design problems, and also when we are communicating our design solutions to a variety of other people. So it might be the client, it might be someone you're seeking funding from, that sort of thing. So let's have a look at why our criteria are important. So firstly, in order to design, we must first obviously understand what design is. Secondly, to find design solutions, we must know what features define and constrain design problems. So that's things like the economics, the situation, who your client is, what their age group is, what their interests are, those sorts of things that will come into play when we're looking for those solutions to our problems. And thirdly, as I just mentioned, to communicate design concepts, it is important to comprehend and use design vocabulary. So that's our literacy focus. So firstly, what is design? We're going to watch a short YouTube video here. And what I would like everyone to do is just note down a couple of the important points that you take from the video. And then at the end of it, we'll be creating a word cloud from those concepts that you picked up and generating our own idea of what design is. Okay, so we watched that video and everyone picked up some excellent concepts and ideas from that video about what design is. We also went back to previous years when we studied design and technology subjects and just had a think back to any of the concepts, words, ideas that you were familiar with, and we've come up with this list here. And from this list, we're going to generate a word cloud. So we'll do that now. Okay, excellent. So here's our word cloud here on the right-hand side, and here's our definition of design on the left-hand side. So what we want to do is compare the two and see if the ideas that we came up with from the video and also from the previous knowledge of design, how does that fit with the actual definition of design from the senior syllabus? So we've got the definition here. Design is a process of developing and exploring a response to needs, wants, and opportunities that require the balancing of aesthetic, cultural, economic, social, and technical features. So firstly, we want to have a look at this one here, exploring. Design is a process of exploring. So what words did we come up with in our word cloud that could be exchanged or similar to exploring? Okay, so over here we've got questioning. Yep, that's an excellent one. The smaller words are a little bit difficult to see, but investigating was another term that we came up with. They're both good synonyms for exploring. Being curious, yep, excellent. So we have to have that sense of curiosity to want to investigate and understand what the problem is that we actually need to solve with our design process. Okay, so next is developing a response. What do we think that means, developing a response to the needs, wants, and opportunities? We've done our investigation, we've explored what the problem really is, and then we want to develop a response. Yep, that could be our problem solving over here. We could be working at understanding. That's also a good one for exploring as well. In this process of developing a response, we are increasing our understanding of what the design problem is. Purposeful, yes. So by developing a response, we're being quite purposeful and identifying what the issues are and purposefully finding solutions to that. Coming up with ideas, excellent. That one is definitely jumping out of this. So when we're developing a response, we need to come up with some ideas. How are we going to tackle this problem? What are we going to do? Okay, and developing a response to the needs, wants, and opportunities that require the balancing of aesthetic, cultural, economic, social, and technical features. So we're balancing these features. So all of these things are going to constrain what our solution can be. So there might be cultural issues that we have to look at, economic, social, and also technical features like sustainability, what kind of materials can we use. So require the balancing of, what do you think? What are the words over here? Can we see that we investigated or came up with during the video? Yep, we're probably looking at the user. That's a good one. The needs of the user. Excellent. Again, we're problem solving, yes.
And again, we're being purposeful with work. You can also do things like constraints and criteria. They're all things that we need to look at when we balance those often competing features of the design problem. Excellent work. So we're really coming along and just investigating this definition of design and really discovering for ourselves, what does design mean?
In response to feedback on lesson plan 1, on the left-hand side here, you can see a response from my tutor indicating that the lesson 1 plan contained quite a lot of content, and that to consider cutting back on some of the criteria in the lesson. In response, I have reduced the lesson content by removing 2 topics, types of designers and the design process. The second feedback was focused, as the lesson is focused on literacy, to ensure all key and subject specific terms are known to students. In response, the students are developing their design vocabulary and spelling through the development of a glossary, and that would continue throughout the course, so it wouldn't just be a single lesson. Next was to keep in mind in regard to behaviour management that sometimes a well-planned and engaging lesson is not enough, and in response I have included the essential skills for classroom management into my classroom management plan. The next part of the feedback was peer feedback in response to my teaching demonstration. The feedback I received was on making the focus of the lesson more clear, whether it was a literacy lesson, pedagogical content, or higher order thinking strategies. My response was that now in the lesson, I state the lesson focus at the beginning of the lesson. Secondly, just the glossary is great. Can you incorporate some cultures of thinking to really elaborate on the class mind map word cloud? As a result, in the lesson plan, I have incorporated a connect, extend, challenge thinking routine to develop what students' understanding of design is. The next comment was to make the PowerPoint full screen. As a result, I have done that, helping to make the font easier to read. Also, do the students know what the terms mean? For example, fundamental, what does that mean? And in the design lesson, I do take more care to explain the meanings of a whole range of words like fundamental and aesthetic. And you can see the link to the original teaching demonstration below if to compare the two. The justification of the lesson plans. Justification lesson plan 1, literacy capabilities. In design, students learn to communicate information, ideas, and design concepts to a variety of audiences. Students work collaboratively throughout the design unit, connecting with one another to create design solutions. Chu, from the UX Collective, stresses the need for a designer to explain their work clearly and convey the ideas and thought processes behind their work. Therefore, it is important for students to understand and use the subject-specific terminology of design. This lesson, conducted early in the first term of Year 11, concentrates on helping students to develop their design vocabulary. Communication is a 21st century skill that is embedded in the senior curriculum. Students need to acquire good communication skills to prepare them for higher education and the world of work. These include effective oral and written communication, using language, symbols, and text, and communicating ideas successfully. Justification, lesson plan 2, higher order thinking strategies. 21st century skills are critical to student success beyond school. This lesson introduces students to the Scamper creative thinking strategy to encourage and develop divergent thinking abilities. Open-ended problems, such as those that are addressed in design, require creative thinking to develop solutions. In a study by Collins, 2014, higher order thinking strategies were identified as a means to encourage the development of problem-solving abilities. Project Zero of the Harvard Graduate School of Education defines a thinking routine, such as Scamper, as a set of questions or a brief sequence of steps used to scaffold and support student thinking with the aim of nurturing learning, thinking, ethics, and intelligence and creativity. Justification Lesson Plan 3, Pedagogical Content Knowledge. Problem-based learning uses real-world settings on which to base learning and aims to develop students' collaborative and problem-solving skills. In an overview of studies examining the effectiveness of problem-based learning, You and Go 2016 concluded that problem-based learning is an effective teaching and learning approach, particularly when it is assessed for the retention of long-term knowledge and its application. This lesson is designed to sit within the problem-based learning pedagogy in that it uses an authentic, open-ended design problem based in the real world. It incorporates collaboration using teamwork and brainstorming, and the teacher scaffolds and facilitates the learning but does not control, allowing for students to maintain independence and responsibility for their learning. Justification Lesson Plan 4, ICTs to enhance learning. In the design syllabus, information and communication technologies are highlighted for students to access and analyze information, become productive users of technology, and learn and implement the principles of digital citizenship. This lesson develops student skill in using 3D drawing applications, encouraging students to learn to become productive users of technology. Through the use of the 3D app, students will see how ICT can create interactive or sequential experiences that allow ideas and design concepts to be tested before actually building them. Jameson Proctor, 2018, analysed evidence from large-scale studies and concluded that students' creative thinking can be enhanced when they work collaboratively with access to appropriate digital technologies. In the design industry, computer-aided design and 3D digital modelling are an integral part of the design industry. Therefore, students' ability to use these tools effectively is essential. The QCAA design syllabus states that design equips students with highly transferable, future-focused thinking skills relevant to a global context. These 4 lessons set out to achieve this goal. This presentation illustrates my knowledge and understanding of a number of the Australian professional standards for teachers, as listed at the graduate level. Thank you.